here. So that's the sort of business that we've had here. We've been running this guest house then for over 100 years in the same family. And of course over time it's changed a little bit. After the Second World War, a lot of people decided to go backpacking and discover Europe, because they'd learned a lot about Europe through the media. In those days, obviously, it was very new to get news information from Europe, but Europe opened up after the war, and so camping became very popular, and so this area, our campsite here, was set up after the Second World War, and at times there were up to 50 or 60 families camping in the fields out there in front of the cabins. Seppa's father built log cabins as well in the early 50s. And then my husband Seppo has rebuilt them or built new ones in the 1980s, and they're the cabins that you're going to be staying in. So he's made them himself. He's cut the trees down from the forest and sawn them up and hewn the logs and built the cabins himself by hand. So we hope that you're going to look after them for us and treat them nicely, respectfully. And as I say, they're very dear to us. He's also built everything else. He built the sauna, and this house we had to rebuild here as well, which we've done also with the help of the villagers, leaving the logs up into place and getting it renovated. And this house is also over 100 years old. Okay, that's enough of the history. Gives you an idea why we're here. We're going to sort you out into the cabins, and Dominique here has the lists already made up, I'm sure. But a little thing about the cabins first of all. The doors, first of all, to get in are tightly sealed, obviously to keep the cold out. So when you put the key into the door into the lock there, you have to push the door in and then turn it, and then the door opens outwards. Okay? Now in the side of the door there's a little button so that the door will either lock or not lock when you close it. At the moment all the keys are in the cabins and all the doors are open, so when you go in you'll find the key on the windowsill and the doors are all open. If you want to lock the door, you need to decide between you as the cabin members where you're going to hide the key outside, or are you going to have one person responsible for the key. It's probably better if you have a hiding place for the key so that anyone can go in and out when they need it, if you decide on that. Because there is only one key per cabin. Okay? But you must remember that if you're the last person out and you shut the door and the key is still inside, you won't be able to get back in again if you've changed the lock system in the door. So in the side of the door, there's a tiny little button in the lock, and you just lift it up, and it will always lock when you close the door. There aren't anybody else staying here. There isn't anyone else staying here, so there are other guests. So it's safe if in that respect. It's just us, just you lot here. Okay. Also, outside each of the cabins, there's a broom. You'll see one sticking up in the snow outside the restaurant here. And that's also very important, because on the doorstep, that's the door frame, where the door frame closes at the bottom here. If the snow builds up in this area, it will pack down tight, the door won't close properly, it might melt on the inside and freeze on the outside, and you'll have real problems with your door. So the broom is there to keep the door clear, the doorstep clear. Okay? Don't step on the doorstep, because that always packs down snow on it. So step over the doorstep and use the broom if necessary to clear the snow away from the door. Otherwise you'll have problems closing it. The heating settings have already been preset. All the cabins are electrically heated, and there's a hot water boiler in there. The heating settings are preset. Unless you find that it's very warm in the cabins, obviously you can turn it down a little bit, but please don't turn it down too much, because the cold pushes in through the walls, and it does get cold very easily. If you find that you're really too cold in the cabin, ask us for extra blankets at night, but they should be warm enough. In these sort of temperatures, when it gets down to -40 at night, sometimes we have frozen pipes. It's quite common. Just let us know and we'll come and try and help them thaw them out for you. The boiler in the cabin is designed so that you've got enough hot water to wash in the mornings, wash your dishes and that sort of thing. You can have a quick shower, but it's really not designed for everybody to have long hot showers each day. We have a sauna, and of course in Finland it's typical that everyone has a sauna in the evening, and that's where the showers are, and that's where the hot water is as well, and it will last. Everyone can have hot showers there. But the showers in the cabins are really for basic washing, basic needs. And as far as washing is concerned, we will have the sauna on every evening for you up until about 11:30 at night. from 8:30 onwards in the evening, with 2 saunas, one for girls and one for boys. And then in the mornings, if you find that you tend to get cold feet easily outdoors, then it's a good idea to wash your feet in the mornings, because everybody sweats a little bit at night time, you get damp feet during the night in bed. So if you wash your feet in the morning and put on dry socks, and your boots have been drying, say for example on the bathroom floor, which has underfloor heating, so it helps the boots dry up during the night, and you put on warm boots and dry socks and you have washed your feet stay much warmer during the day. It's when you have damp feet that the cold gets in through your boots and your feet start to freeze very, very easily when they're damp. Okay, especially if you've got damp socks. And now, of course, today, after you've travelled all night, and it's probably the worst day is the first day, and then you get used to it. Okay, if you need to have any sheets and towels for the beds, you can pick them up at dinner time here. We'll have them upstairs, and you sign out for them, and then again pay for them on the last day. As far as your rubbish is concerned, we have a rubbish bin in this car park area, a big round rubbish bin, and that's for all sorts of rubbish except cardboard and paper, which we burn. So if you have cardboard and paper rubbish, please put it in a bag and leave it on the terrace, and we can pick it up from the terrace and burn it after you've gone. And also bottles and cans, you mustn't put any bottles and cans in there either. Also, if you want to, just put them in a rubbish bin bag and leave them out on the terrace, and we'll collect them for you. The cabins number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and number 10 have got fireplaces in them. Now, normally we let everybody use the fireplaces, but at the moment, with this weather, it's not actually very beneficial heat-wise for the cabin for you to make fires, because if you make a fire, what happens is that it needs a lot of air, and it draws in the air from the cabin, so it will be using the warm air from the cabin, and it will go up and out the chimney, and in fact, the result is that you have a cold cabin in these sorts of temperatures. So the best thing is not to use the fire. They have dampers, stoppers in the chimney, and they should all be kept closed, because if you open the damper, if you open it's like a plate that blocks up the chimney. If you open it, the cold air will just come down through the chimney, and you wake up in the morning and the cabin will really be freezing cold. It cannot, the batteries cannot, the radiators cannot produce enough heat against -40 at night. So in the sauna there's another fireplace, and at dinner time we'll have the fire going here. So if you want to have a fire, use the fireplace in the sauna, and that's where you'll be all together anyway in the evenings, because there's a common room area in the sauna which you can sit and enjoy a drink or so after your sauna if you want to. Also outside the sauna is a swimming area and in the lake, so you're very welcome to try out swimming. If you go swimming, it's lit with a light at night, so you can see there's a path down to the lake, and it has a sandy bottom, so you just walk into the lake and try a bit of swimming if you want. Remember though, you mustn't go swimming alone. Always have someone be with you. Use socks to walk to the hole, and you can keep them on when you swim, obviously, because the snow is quite cold to walk on with bare feet. And so you have socks, it makes it much easier and bearable. And avoid swimming near the edge, because the ice can get quite thin around the edges, and it's sharp. Okay, so don't swim around the edges, and certainly don't go walk around the hole on the outside either, because you don't want to, unless you want to swim, of course. But no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be falling through the ice and through the thin ice around the edge of the swimming hole there. But anyway, it's quite an experience. It gives you a real adrenaline rush, and afterwards, when you come out from there, you'll feel amazing. It's you don't even need to go and have a sauna. You feel very warm once you've been for a swim. Your blood rushes out to the surfaces. It's quite an incredible experience. I recommend it, but be careful.